Questions are power. Every kind of power carries a cost. Misused, it becomes a tool of manipulation, a way to silence others, a way to dominate. But wielded wisely, it awakens minds, guides thought, and elevates understanding. It is not a weapon for victory in shallow debate, but a compass for the pursuit of truth. This was the art of Socrates, a man who never lost a single argument. Not because he was always right, not because he could outsmart anyone with clever phrasing or rhetoric. Socrates never entered a discussion with the goal of winning. His aim was far deeper. He sought understanding, clarity, and the revelation of hidden assumptions that most minds never examine. While others exhausted themselves defending their opinions, shouting louder, and attempting to impress with displays of knowledge, Socrates asked questions. Questions as sharp as blades. Questions that cut through pretense and illusion. Questions that exposed the fragile foundations of untested beliefs. He did not rely on force, nor on charisma, nor on clever argumentation. He relied on patience, discipline, and the subtle art of inquiry. And today, we will explore 5 questions that form the backbone of the Socratic Method. Questions that, if mastered, will not only strengthen your mind, but allow you to navigate conversations, debates, and situations with precision and wisdom. But before we dive into these questions, we must understand the underlying principle. Why asking questions always surpasses arguing, and why these 5 questions are devastatingly effective. When a person presents an argument, they build a tower of words. Each assertion, each fact, each point is a brick. To challenge that argument, most people respond by throwing their own bricks, constructing their own tower to compete. Socrates, in contrast, did not build towers. He dug. He excavated the foundation, and if he found that the foundation was weak, the tower collapsed, not through force, but through awareness. A statement can be wrong. A statement can be false. But a genuine question cannot be wrong. A question forces thought, reflection, and introspection. Arguments trigger defense. Questions trigger curiosity. Questions do not attack the ego, they illuminate it. They invite others to map the terrain of their beliefs, to examine the soil beneath the edifices of their opinions. And once the ground gives way, once the foundations are exposed as unstable, the person confronts reality. Not your reality, but their own. This is the psychological edge of the Socratic Method. Part 1. How do you know that's true? This is the first question, deceptively simple, yet profoundly destabilizing. How do you know that's true? At first glance, it seems innocuous, almost harmless. Yet it carries a subtle power capable of toppling the most confident assertions. Why is this so effective? Because almost every belief we hold is unexamined. Most beliefs are inherited, absorbed unconsciously from the environment, or accepted without scrutiny. Consider the phrases we hear daily. Everyone knows that, or it's obvious that, or that's just the way it is. When someone utters these statements, they reveal the untested nature of their beliefs. They have not questioned why they hold them. They have accepted repetition as truth. Socrates understood that unexamined beliefs are dangerous because they control us without our awareness. A belief untested becomes a chain, invisible yet binding. History provides us with examples. One afternoon in Athens, a young man, brimming with confidence, confronted Socrates. "Your philosophy is useless," he said. "Reality is the only truth." Socrates smiled. He asked a single question. "How do you know that's true?" The young man paused. "Because everyone says so," he replied. Socrates leaned closer and asked, "Everyone, or you?" The man left in silence, not because Socrates shouted, not because he proved him wrong, but because for the first time, the young man recognized that he had never truly examined his own beliefs. In practice, this question is your tool for disarming certainty. When someone declares that task is impossible, ask, "Are you sure? Based on whose experience?" When someone insists, "You will fail," ask, "What makes you so certain?" Then remain silent. Let the silence press. Let it allow the other person to confront their own reasoning. Words alone cannot achieve this. Silence amplifies the question. There is also an advanced variation. What would have to be true for that to be false? This flips logic on its head, forcing the person to examine the conditions under which their certainty fails. It is a subtle, yet devastatingly effective way to expose the limits of belief and the blind spots of the mind. Some who believe themselves infallible are left frozen, confronting the realization that they had never fully considered their own reasoning. Part 2. What are you assuming? Every argument is an iceberg. What we see, the surface assertion, is only a fraction of the truth. Beneath lies a mass of unspoken assumptions that support the visible claim. Asking, "What are you assuming?" shines a light into the depths. Take, for instance, a common argument. Everyone should go to college because it leads to good jobs. Reasonable at first glance. Yet beneath this statement lie assumptions. That everyone desires the same type of job, that success is measured solely by income, that college guarantees opportunity. Peel away these layers, and the initial certainty begins to tremble. This question is not an attack, it is illumination. It brings awareness to the hidden roots of belief, allowing both speaker and listener to examine the foundations upon which arguments rest. Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of human suffering stems from living under untested assumptions. We pursue the approval of others, chase societal definitions of success, and accept conventional wisdom without question, all because we fail to interrogate the soil beneath our thoughts. In everyday conversation, this question can dismantle comparison and false standards. When someone says, "I'm not good enough," respond with, "Compared to who?" When someone asserts, "Everyone should follow this path," ask, "Are you assuming everyone wants the same life?" You are not attacking the person. You are unveiling the hidden beliefs that shape thought. Awareness is the key, and assumptions are the lock. Part 3. What evidence would change your mind? This is the question that separates thinkers from believers. It is a test of humility and rationality. The rational mind responds, "If evidence exists, I am willing to reconsider." The dogmatic mind responds, "Nothing could ever change my view." And in that admission, the believer reveals the true nature of their conviction, pride masquerading as certainty. Epictetus teaches us, "No man can learn what he thinks he already knows." This third question embodies that principle. By asking, "What evidence would change your mind?" you probe whether reasoning or ego governs the conversation. If no evidence can sway them, you recognize that logic no longer resides in that mind. They have become prisoners of their own certainty. In practical use, this question allows you to identify open-mindedness and intellectual rigidity. When someone claims, "Crypto is a scam," ask, "What evidence would make you reconsider?" If they reply, "Nothing," you have learned the limits of their thinking. If they remain open, the door to dialogue and wisdom is unlocked. This question demands intellectual honesty, asking the listener to confront the nature of their reasoning. Part 4. What would someone who disagrees with you say? Perspective is the lens through which understanding is formed. Most people seek to win arguments, yet the wise seek comprehension. Asking, "What would someone who disagrees say?" forces empathy and understanding, compelling one to step outside oneself. This question is a test of comprehension. If a person cannot accurately articulate opposing viewpoints, they do not fully understand their own position. History teaches this lesson. In political debate, in academic discourse, in daily conflict, failure to understand the other perspective leads to superficial argumentation, not dialogue. Marcus Aurelius advised to understand another man's argument better than he does himself. That is the height of wisdom. Applying this question in life, in discussions about fairness, morality, or ideology, ask, if you were born in another country, would you still hold this view? In personal conflict, ask, if you were me, how would you feel? Such questions transform conversations from competitions into exercises in awareness and empathy. Perspective is not surrender, it is clarity. Part 5. What would happen if everyone thought like you? This is the final question, the ultimate test of universality and logical consistency. It draws beliefs out of abstraction and applies them to reality. Consider the statement, people should do whatever they want as long as it does not harm anyone. Noble, yet what if everyone acted under that principle? Who defines harm? Does it include emotional pain, long-term consequences, or social impact? Socrates called this method reductio ad absurdum, pushing a belief to its extreme to reveal weaknesses. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, what is right cannot be right only for you, it must be right for all. A principle that fails when universalized is not truth, it is self-interest disguised as morality. In daily life, this question exposes hypocrisy, prompts self-reflection, and challenges assumptions. When someone says, relax, I only lied a little, ask, if everyone lied a little, would trust survive? When someone claims, everyone cheats a little, ask, if everyone thought this way, who would be first to stop? The consequences of belief are mirrored back, and illusions of moral comfort shatter. Advanced tactics. Beyond the 5 questions, mastery involves subtle techniques. 1. Strategic silence. After posing a question, remain silent. Let the pause force introspection. Most people cannot withstand the vacuum of thought and reveal more than intended. 2. Clarification loop. When an answer is vague, ask for elaboration repeatedly. Keep digging until the speaker uncovers gaps in reasoning. 3. The example trap. Ask for concrete examples. Grand statements falter when confronted with reality. 4. Consistency. Check. Highlight contradictions gently. Earlier you said A, now you say B. How do these fit? Logical inconsistency exposes the fragility of assumptions. When these tactics are used in defense, they strengthen understanding without aggression. If someone uses the Socratic method on you, recognize it is not a personal attack. It is an invitation to examine truth. Respond calmly. That's a good question, but what is your view on it? Maintain equilibrium. Knowledge grows through reflection, not confrontation. Applying the Socratic method in modern life. 1. Workplace. Instead of commanding, ask, what risks do you see if we tried the opposite? Participation fosters trust, insight, and alignment. 2. Sales. Lead with curiosity, not pressure. Ask, if nothing changes, what will your situation look like in 6 months? Insight is more persuasive than coercion. 3. Parenting and education. Replace shouting with reflection. What do you think will happen if you do that again? Maturity arises through guided thinking, not punishment. 4. Relationships. In arguments, ask to connect, not win. What do you need most to feel heard right now? Empathy often succeeds where logic cannot. Ethics and responsibility. Socrates was condemned not for falsehood, but for asking questions that revealed truth. Power is responsibility. Use questions to awaken, not humiliate. Protect virtues, intellectual humility, sincere curiosity, and collaborative thinking. Guard against arrogance, mockery disguised as wisdom, endless skepticism, and the illusion of possessing absolute truth. Questions do not impose, they guide. They do not dominate, they illuminate. Ask softly, listen attentively, and awaken the mind within and around you. Socrates asked humanity a simple question: are you sure you truly understand yourself? Perhaps it remains unanswered even today. The 5 Socratic questions are not tools of victory. They are exercises in wisdom. They cultivate calm observation, thoughtful guidance, and self-mastery. Learn to ask, first of yourself, then of others. Those who master this art fear no answer, seek no applause, and understand that true power lies in awakening, not winning.